Welcome to Mana's Seal YouTube channel. The previous video link is on the description box or on the top right card. Volume 15, The Half-Elf Godkin. Even if she ended up turning both of the factions into her enemies, she could see that there were people like the Master of the Hunt who didn't belong to either of them. She could make them her allies in the worst-case scenario, but she would have to apologize to her master if she had to resort to that. Ahem. Then, can we inquire the reason for Bella Fiora Dono's visit to our village? Fiora is my surname, so just call me that. I think you can already guess. It's because I heard rumors about dark elves living in this forest. That is why I came to meet people from my race. There are barely any dark elves in my homeland, you see. So I would like to stay in this village for a while if you will allow me. We don't mind, but alone. For now. For now. Yes. I am good at moving through the forest, so the others asked me to go ahead. Actually, according to our plan, they should probably reach here by 3 days at the latest, I think. My brother and uncle should be joining us by that time. Of course, this uncle she spoke of was none other than their master, Ainzul, Gown. Uncle. Actually, because our parents disappeared. Aura continued making a silent apology to Bikubi Kuchigame. Uncle raised us. It was easier to tell a white lie, but it could become troublesome later if they were found out, so she tried to keep it as close to the truth as possible. I see. Sorry for making you remember such a topic. So you came here alone, seeing that you are strong enough to fight back in Ankylorsis, a lord at that, I can understand. Aura was surprised as she expected more words of consolation. Aura thought over it. This was the Great Sea of Trees after all, a place filled with danger. As there was no lack of children who had lost their parents, her story was probably not sad enough to warrant more consolation. Then, we don't mind if you are planning to stay. We can lend you an elf tree, if you want. So, what do you think? Please do so. Understood. Someone, Apple. Lead Fiora Dono to a vacant elf tree. Can you do that? It was the Master of the Hunt who answered to that name. Of course. Leave it to me. I will lead her to the best elf tree in the village. Also, since Uncle Dono and Brother Dono will be joining us in 3 days, you won't mind if we held a shindig for you all together then, right? Of course. I will be in your care for a while then. Now that's done, Fiora Dono. Won't you tell us the tales of your journey later? And we will also be happy if you would tell us about your country where there are no dark elves. We know absolutely nothing about the outside of the forest. Of course, we won't force you if there are painful memories. Well then, what should she do? Aura started thinking. There were no benefits to revealing her true identity like an idiot. It could have helped with getting people's attention, but it had no meaning now, as she had already demonstrated her strength. That said, just like how giving out information thoughtlessly was bad, appearing completely reticent would not be good either. In that case, her only options were to lie, to dole out the truth little by little, or mix the truth and lie in proportion. I will have to discuss this with Ain Sama and Mare to not create contradictions when they join us later, but it seems like I don't have the choice of staying silent right now. If I told them to ask Ain Sama, who will be coming later, they would be suspicious about my reluctance to talk. She couldn't let them have any suspicions in the present situation. Until she could get a read on their master's final goal, she should continue to work towards departing this place on friendly terms. There's no message yet, so Ain Sama is probably telling me to think of the answer by myself, but what kind of answer would Ain Sama like? Fiora Dono, is something the matter? It seemed like she was silent for too long. Aura returned a smile. I was wondering if you will believe what I am going to tell you. Well, it's probably fine to talk a bit about my home and travels. Like about the Trail of the Fae. The Trail of the Fae. Isn't that supposed to be just a legend? Someone among the dark elves surrounding the masked. Things like the Moon's Road and the Trail of the Fae do exist. Although, they're inside Nazarik's 6th floor, or added internally. But I can't talk in detail about these things with people who are not chosen by the Fae. Fufu. Sorry then. Fio, no, is it fine to call you or Dono? The female elder's eyes were burning with passion. The answer was already decided. Although Aura didn't really want to, she couldn't refuse her considering her master's orders. I don't mind at all. Then, or Dono. I have been thinking about it since a while ago, but it's a nice name. Thanks. Aura replied with a pure smile. She was praising the name given to her by Supreme Being. There's no way Aura would refuse such praise. However, as she understood it was just them being courteous, she didn't try to talk more about that point. The female elder looked like she was satisfied with her response. She continued to talk in a good mood. So Aura Dono is also a dark elf chosen by the Fae. That's splendid. Most of the people in this village are not chosen. That's why they don't know how we the Dark Elves who lived in the north traveled to this place. Dark Elves came here using the Trail of the Fae. Does it have an ability like that? The Trail of the Fae inside Nazar couldn't teleport people over that big of a distance. They were either mistaking it for something else, or maybe there was an entirely different Trail of the Fae. Aura managed to draw out some intel, but she felt like she may have misstepped a little. On second thought, she denied that mentally. She would skillfully draw the intel out. And I will make Fearsome praise me. Aura pumped her fist, filling her heart with resolve. Aura headed to her lodging, led by the master of the hunt. Ains, who had been following her this entire time using perfect unknowable, let out a sigh in relief. A part of the relief was from the fact that no one strong enough to rival him had appeared, and the other part was from how well Aura's first contact went. That said, he couldn't be sure they weren't just putting up a friendly act. People who could be so nonchalant about the fact that a child just traveled from such a far distance alone should have something wrong with their heads. They would obviously hide their feelings if they didn't really welcome her. Maybe he was overthinking it, but he wanted to make sure that they were not just acting. It would be simple if he could just kidnap someone like the elf from before and cast mind control magic on them, like charm. But dealing with the after effects would be bothersome if he had to use control amnesia. Everything would be easier if he could just kill them though. First, he should investigate the village's present mood. A completely novel topic of conversation known as Aura had appeared in this village that didn't seem to have changed much for a long time. There was no doubt that the villagers were raring to talk about her with others. Ains wondered how honest the villagers were going to be when Aura wasn't around. With Ains using perfect unknowable, this was their best chance to gather raw intel, free from any lies. The three elders returned to their tree, and the gathered elves dispersed, gradually. The issue was which dark elves should he follow and eavesdrop on. He already noticed a few dark elf children about Aura's age, a guess based on their height during the gathering. Frankly speaking, he wanted to go after the children and hear their opinion on Aura. But he heard a voice saying that girl from the tree he was close to just a moment ago. I should have been listening in on the elders' conversation. He should snoop on the elders, who were more likely to talk about the most important things, but not for the matter of the twins making friends. Ains used fly to smoothly float to the entrance of the tree the elders entered. He couldn't find the elders when he peeked inside. The voices were coming from the top of the stairs that extended up from this room. He could hear them from here, but just to be sure, Ains entered the tree and climbed the stairs with fly. Now then, how much of what that girl said do you think is real? She did imply that she traveled using the power of the Trail of the Fae after all. The oldest of the elders was talking in a slightly different manner from before, but that was to be expected. Even Ains would change his manner of speech, depending on who he was talking with. Rather, the people he was more scared of were those who didn't act like that. So this was how the elder talked with his friends. I don't think all of that was a lie. Wouldn't it be difficult for a little kid to travel such a distance without using the Trail of the Fae? You can be sure about that. She is strong enough to repel that Ursus Lord, you know. Aura, isn't it the strength of that weapon? You saw it right. That dazzling bow. That's absolutely something precious. Maybe it's something the Fae bestowed upon her. The bow Aura used belonged to Ains, and was not considered strong in Yggdrasil, but it was probably top class in terms of gaudiness. Maybe I should advertise runecraft here too. While Ains was thinking, the elders continued on with their conversation. I wonder how long that child is going to stay here. I want her to stay here, forever if possible. No, that's going to be difficult. It's more likely that she will immediately set out again after joining up with the Uncle Dono and Brother Dono later. Ours is not the only Dark Elf village. Maybe they will visit the other villages to establish friendly contacts. I don't know why that child came here to meet us her kin, but there's no reason for her to stick to her village. That's right. We should ask her in detail about why she came to meet us, the Dark Elves. That's why we should make the welcoming party grand. Ah, you're right. We have to give them such a grand welcome that they will still think that this village is the best even after visiting the other villages. We should start preparing the foodstuffs in the next 3 days. Won't the younglings dislike it? No way they will. We are welcoming the family of the kid who saved the village, you know. Even they should understand that they have to cooperate on this. You're right. And we can probably use the welcome party to ask Uncle Dono about the Trail of the Fae. He would probably talk a bit if he felt welcomed by us. Yes. But I still hope she stays in this village. Why are you so fixated on that idea? Is the fact that she may have been chosen by the Fae so appealing to you? Yes. We know the people in the villages around us have already lost most of their Fae blessing. If that child stays here, You are not thinking about lording over the other villages with that, right? I will oppose everything you do if you are planning on that, you know. I am not planning on anything that warrants your opposition. It's just, if we can learn how she received the Fae blessing, maybe we can get ours back as well. Ains felt like the Fae they were talking about were not racial beings, but something closer to spirits. Yggdrasil also had the concept of the Fae blessing. Maybe the native Fae of this world had such abilities naturally. It's also possible that they were building into classes similar to Seelie Court and Unseelie Court. Those classes should have a special teleportation ability, similar to the Trail of the Fae if he remembered correctly. I should probably make sure of this thing. He should also share this information with Or. The elders continued to talk while Ains was thinking about this and that. If we can do that, the younglings will also change their opinion. Anyway, don't force the guests to talk about it. Not only that, be respectful to Uncle Dono and Brother Dono who will be visiting us soon. I really don't want bad rumors about this village and the Dark Elves to spread around when they return back to their country. Ains's eyes, or the holes in the skull that pass for eyes, turned dimmer. Fumu. Is this village the wrong choice? I really don't want to let Or be used as a tool in internal squabbles. He would never let the children entrusted to him by Bukubiku Chigama be hurt. Ains felt irritated with the female elder. I should tell her not to get close to the adults. I just have to hope at least the children here are pure. After hearing they had changed the topic to the welcome party and confirming that they were not suspicious of Or, Ains cast greater teleportation. After reaching his destination, he dispelled perfect unknowable. Ains-sama. Welcome back. Mare, who was waiting outside the green secret house, gave a little bow.